Podcast Talk live. It's the G Experience with LG, which is me. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe on Spotify as well. A link will be in the description. Today's episode, I want to talk about Young Thug. Let's talk podcast. I am an advocate to listening to TV Court on YouTube, and I watch the Crime Network on YouTube. Like, I follow these channels. I be looking at a lot of the cases. It has a large audience. A lot of other people like watching those detective type shows. 48 Hours, First 48, FBI Files. I watched all those type shows, and a lot of other people do too. So I do watch the Law and Crime Network channel on YouTube, and I also listen to their podcast on the radio, on Sirius Radio. I will listen to the Law and Crime Network and listen to a lot of these cases, and they're very interesting. There's a lot. It's very dramatized. I like to see the lawyers, battle it out and go through all the legal process to achieve their goals, whether it's guilty or not guilty. Detectives putting these cases together and looking at the evidence which leads to that person, the defendant. And I have a few trials that I really like, my favorites or whatever so far. So I've been into it for about a year, but I've been watching shows like the FBI Files and things of that nature for years, But so I do watch those shows. But Young Thug was actually a live trial as well, and I just didn't find it all that. There was a lot of confusion in that trial, and it was on the state level, which a lot of these cases be state cases. The federal cases, you can't watch those live. But Young Thug, that trial been going on for a while, and it took them a long time to actually find jurors for that trial. They even switched one of the judges, so there was a lot going on. But I know Young Thug, his lawyer was really fighting for that guy. There was a lot of people on that case. A lot of people took deals as well, but I did watch little small bits and pieces to it. They was constantly going back and forth, and I was thinking, man, they should just let them walk. It's not. It was just so much confusion or a mistrial or something along those lines. So I did watch little bits and pieces of it. I watched one of the witnesses. I believe his name was Woody. I watched a couple of the detectives that was witnesses in this case, but I didn't follow the case like that. That's one of the cases I didn't follow, but it's been a trending case, and it's been going on for a long time. And just for the audience who don't know who Young Thug is, just give a little background of the rapper Young Thug. I probably heard some of his music before. I'm sure he's a phenomenal artist, but a lot be going on in the rap world, and the law taking more notice of that. And this is one of those cases where the law took notice of what's going on with this supposed gang, YSL, which Young Thug's supposed to be the supreme leader. So Young Thug, he has been set free as of today. He pleaded guilty on some of the charges, and there's a lot of stipulations he had to go through to get this done. The state wanted to make a deal. They worked out the deal, so he's actually set free right now. And I say, hey, salute to him. Salute to him. And I watched the speech he gave to the judge when they was getting ready to hand down his sentence or whatever, and he sounded really heartfelt, and I think he learned something going through this process, and his life was really, really on the line. He was really facing some significant time. I want to remind everyone that you're listening to Podcast Talk, the G Experience with LG. You can subscribe to this channel on YouTube, or you can go to Spotify. There will be a link in the description. We want to try to build this channel up, and we're going to keep giving you guys good content. And I like to cover what's really going on out there in the world. A lot of things be trending. I see a lot of hip hop cases, basically whatever is going on in the world, and I want to give my commentary for some of the things that be trending out there. But back to Young Thug, he's been set free, and he was facing some significant time, I believe over 100 years on a state case. Now the state, they don't have the necessary, they got resources, but not quite like the feds. So, and speaking of the feds, this other rapper named Lil Durk. I'm gonna make an episode about that. That's gonna be my next episode where I talk about Lil Durk, rather. And he just caught a Fed case for murder for hire, and it's just a shame, man, that a lot of these guys who make it to have success and make it to a magnitude that some people would never see and most people would never see, and the street stuff sort of follows them into this business. They bring it with them. They still, it's like having one foot in the streets and one foot in the rap world. And it's this constant thing where the rapper feel like he has to be so real that whatever he's rapping about, he got to be literally living that. But lately, how the hip hop world is, they sort of taunt people that passed away, and I always think that's dangerous, because people have emotions, and those emotions be really high when people lose a loved one. But like I said, Young Thug was facing significant time, and some of the things he pleaded guilty was to gang. Well, he pleaded guilty to gang, drug, and gun charges. Now, as I spoke about the jury selection at Fulton County Courthouse in Atlanta, it began in January 2023 and took nearly 10 months. And that's unheard of, to take 10 months to find jurors for a case. And Young Thug, he's an Atlanta-based artist. His real name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams. And he's known for his eccentric style, mumble rap, and squeaky high-pitched vocals. I think the other group does some of that mumble rap too. It's sort of something like Bone Thugs created like way back in the 90s. I know I sound old by saying that, but been around hip hop for a long time. But it's another group from out there, Migos. The Migos, they got that mumble style type rap. But anyway, his high pitched vocals, and he became very popular with songs like Stoner and Best Friends. And I just realized that I didn't even know this, maybe because I didn't look at the credits for this song, This Is America, by Childish Gambino. And that was one of the biggest trending songs in hip hop to me when that came out. Like, people around the world was really trending on that song right there. And it's really a deep song, and I think the world, especially our kids, live like what they saying if you watch that music video to This Is America. But anyway, he co-wrote that song, and let me see what else we got here. He became the first hip hop track to win the song on the year of the year for the Grammys in 2019. Okay. That song actually was the song of the year for the Grammys in 2019. Like I said, that was a huge song, and it was a really deep song. And the video is like shocking. It's like a shock value to that video. I would encourage people to go watch that video. But instead, the rapper went forward with a potentially risky, non-negotiated, blind plea deal. That's pretty much what he did in this case, and that's what got him set free. Meaning he will enter pleas without having a deal in place with prosecutors. So they didn't have any type of deal before he did all that. He went blindly in there. But I watched that proceeding, and the judge and the prosecution don't look at him at this point as an actual threat. You know, they believe that if he was to be let out of jail, he wouldn't be trying to do street type stuff. He wouldn't be heading a gang organization. When you had this type of stuff going on, and you have a bunch of people representing the brand, and they go out there and do all this stupid stuff or whatever, and as a boss, they may be embracing some of that stuff instead of telling him, man, don't bring all that heat around here, you know. He may sort of embracing that. So I think a lot of that have to do with this case where other people was doing stuff in the name of YSL, and they put it on him because he's the leader. But he pleaded to 1 gang charge, 3 drug charges, and 2 gun charges. He also entered a no contest plea to another gang charge and a racketeering conspiracy charge. I think they actually dropped that RICO charge, meaning he decided not to contest those charges. So he decided not to contest those charges. And some of the stipulations that he had to go through with this case in order to be let free. And then when I look over this, it's like the law making him be like a law-abiding citizen. Like they try to make him into what they going to do it. He got to do it. To make him into like a regular human being, though he's a celebrity. You know, and those celebrities, I know how much they try to be normal as possible, but, you know, they celebrities. It is what it is. But when I look at these stipulations, it's like they making him be like a law-abiding citizen. So here goes some of the stipulations. He must stay away from the metro Atlanta area, which he should anyway. You need to move out of Atlanta. For the first 10 years of his probation, except for weddings. So he got to do that for the first 10 years of his probation. He had to move away from Atlanta. He can only come to Atlanta only for weddings, funerals, graduations, or a serious illness of an immediate family member. He can arrive 24 hours before the event and must leave within 48 hours after. But he must also return to the Atlanta area 4 times a year to make anti-gang, anti-gun violence presentations at a grade school, middle school, or high school, or at an organization like the Boys and Girls Clubs. Those visits can count towards the 100 hours of community service he must complete during each year of his probation. So that's some of the stipulations he had to sign off for in order to be made free. Now, in his speech to the judge and to the court, he already did a lot for the community, and the judge, you know, she gave her opinion that you're a big influence on younger people, and when they see you doing all this, then they'll try to emulate that, but they don't have the fame you got, nor do they have the money that you have. So in order to attain that, they'd rather go be around the powerful drug lord that lives at the end of the block. That's what the judge said. But Young Thug, he's been set free. He got all these stipulations he has to deal with. And I think he'd be all for it. It's better than spending 100 years in the federal penitentiary. And he should be happy he's at home right now. You know, you got to grow out of that stuff. And sometimes you just got to leave the homies back at home. You know, sometimes you can't take the homies with you, or at least all of them. Some of them may be mad and say you selling them out, this, that, and the third. But if all this stuff can bring down what y'all work so hard for, you need to leave that behind. I know it's a hard thing, especially when you get older and you like 30 some years old or whatever. But that's just my thought. Some social commentary right here, podcast talk. Subscribe to this channel. I will be back with more content. You can check me out on Spotify. It's a brand new channel, and we want to build it up. I appreciate the audience. I always got to appreciate the audience. Peace and love.